Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing a brilliant streak of fire tearing across the heavens. It's not a meteor or a shooting star, it's the International Space Station falling. This may sound like the plot of a sci-fi disaster movie, but the possibility, however unlikely, is real enough to deserve our attention. The International Space Station, or ISS, is one of the most remarkable achievements in human history. A joint project involving NASA, Roscosmos, ESA, JAXA, and CSA, the ISS has been orbiting our planet since 1998 and has been continuously inhabited by astronauts since the year 2000. It serves as a flying laboratory where research in biology, physics, and technology is conducted in microgravity. At about the size of a football field and weighing over 420 tons, the ISS is a marvel of engineering, but it's also a fragile structure, held in place by precise calculations, coordination, and funding from multiple countries. Despite its strength and scale, the ISS is not invincible. It orbits at roughly 400 kilometers above Earth, but gravity is always pulling at it. The only reason it doesn't fall is because it's moving fast enough, about 28,000 kilometers per hour, to keep missing the Earth as it falls. However, if something were to go wrong, if the station's orbital altitude dropped too far, if it lost power or maneuvering ability, or if it were struck by a large piece of space debris, the delicate balance keeping it aloft could break. Once that happens, Earth's gravity would win. If the ISS began to fall, it would not plunge straight down. Instead, it would spiral lower and lower, dragging against the outer layers of the atmosphere. Friction would build, and the station would heat up to thousands of degrees. Parts of it would tear off. Solar panels would shred. Smaller modules would disintegrate. But not everything would burn away. Some of the heavier components, metal beams, dense machinery, and internal structures might survive the descent. The question then becomes, where would it land? The answer is nobody can say for sure. Predicting the re-entry path of a large, uncontrolled object is incredibly difficult. Small changes in speed or angle can move the impact zone by hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. Since about 70% of Earth's surface is covered by ocean, the most likely scenario is that the ISS would break up over water, with most debris sinking harmlessly. But if even a small portion of the station crashed into a populated area, the consequences could be devastating. A single surviving piece could weigh several tons and strike with the force of a missile. Damage to buildings, fires, injuries, or even loss of life would be possible. Historically, we've had a few scares. In 1979, NASA's Skylab made an uncontrolled re-entry, scattering debris over Western Australia. In 2001, Russia's Mir space station was successfully brought down in a controlled descent. More recently, China's Tiangong-1 re-entered the atmosphere uncontrollably in 2018, but fortunately fell into the Pacific Ocean. For the ISS, agencies like NASA and Roscosmos have long-term plans to ensure a controlled deorbit. This would involve attaching special modules or spacecraft to gradually push it down over an uninhabited area like the South Pacific Ocean. But such plans require funding, international cooperation, and time. If tensions rise or resources dwindle, maintaining the station could become more difficult and the risk of an uncontrolled fall could increase. The fall of the ISS wouldn't just be a physical event. It would be symbolic, the collapse of one of humanity's greatest collaborative ventures. The station represents what the world can achieve when countries work together. Seeing it break apart in the sky would be a powerful, haunting image of what happens when unity is lost or responsibility is ignored. Ultimately, the story of the ISS falling to Earth is not only about fire and debris. It's about our future in space, how we treat the sky above us, how we manage the tools and technologies we send into orbit, and how we take responsibility for what we create. Because everything we send into space, no matter how far it travels, will one day come back down.